All right. Take number 2. Remember this, David? Take 2. Take 2. Take 2. Today, I'm starting something a little bit different. I'm hoping to make this a continuous series for travel education, where I'm able to give a rundown of my travel experience, a little bit of my learning when I go to different countries around the world, different places, different regions, or even different states in the United States of America. And I figured what better way than to have someone join me that's also able to travel to those regions or to those places or that has traveled. And I have a guest here. And if we could have please, a quick introduction of who you are, where you live currently, where you come from, and how did you meet me, bro?
Greetings, everyone. Bula Vanaka. Brother Joshua here from the city of Dallas, as we call it, the Triple D, Dirty Dallas, whatever you want to call it. That's where I'm from, born and raised. Lived throughout Dallas. That's my upbringing, whether east side of Dallas, north side of Dallas. I lived in different parts of Dallas. That's my upbringing and surrounding area as well. Yeah, that's my upbringing in Dallas. That's what I know through and through, like the back of my hand, Dallas.
So Dallas, huh? All right. You come from Dallas, and I want to give this a little bit of background to the people of how they can see our relationship, how we know each other. I want to go all the way back to Canada, which was our first trip, Canada. That's sort of where we didn't really know each other at the beginning, but got to hang around with each other, got to spend that entire trip together. That was in Toronto, by the way. But I circle back to a moment where you sat on a chair and you had said, "Oh man, I'm so undeserving of this." I want to go and grab some information as to what do you recall how you felt at that time? What made you say that?
So going back to Canada, this is my first international trip. I just had got my passport. It's my first time going out the country, and I go out there. I meet up with David, another brother, and we're walking. We're walking through a strip where there's people from all walks of life, different cultures, different lifestyles. You see all kinds of shops and people just enjoying life out there. I go to these shops. I go to a British shop where I see, British snacks and stuff for the first time. I never experienced anything like this, as he was saying from my upbringing. Like, I've never been on a plane as a child. I've never, of course, been out the country as a child. I never knew that type of life,
So was it your first time?
Yeah, it was my first time.
Wow.
My first time.
Okay.
And I never knew anything like that, until later in life. And here I go with all these, different cultures, different walks of life. And I'm doing this for the right thing. I'm coming to Toronto to go to service, not go to a Drake concert or things like that. I'm going there for service. And I'm there. We get some snacks or some ice cream or something. And we just sit down at the end of the road where all the strips were. We sit down at the end of the road, and it's like I'm kind of like overwhelmed with a feeling like, man, like grateful, like, man, I don't deserve this. Like, God is being so good to me. He just like keep bringing me, bringing me these places and, doing all these things, making revisions for me, man. I'm just sitting there like, man, I don't deserve this.
And that year was back in 2024?
Yeah, 2024, June, I believe June of 2024. That was the first Canadian convocation in Toronto. Yeah.
And since then, I'm going to give a timeline of places we've been together. I know it hasn't been that many, but it's been a few. Canada, and remind me if I miss some. Jamaica, New Zealand, Fiji, and we're back here in Fiji again. So this is our second time around in Fiji. In Fiji, we went to Singatoka, and then you got an opportunity to go to Suva. Here now we're in Nandi. Am I missing any other country?
Germany.
There we go. Am I missing anything else?
I believe that's all.
On the country perspective.
Yeah, I believe that's all.
Okay, there we go. And then you had an opportunity to travel to many other, which maybe we'll touch on. based on the places that we've been able to travel together, we started to get a little closer to one another, got to hang out, got to see our personality, right? And in New Zealand, what perspective did you have in New Zealand, being your first time in Auckland, right? And got to see so many different people, so many different cultures involved in one country, which I thought was amazing. What was your perspective on that?
So coming, what I would consider the South Pacific in general, I didn't go, I went unlearned in a sense to where I didn't know the culture. I didn't know what the demographics would be there. I just knew they had an accent for the most part. That's all I
New
knew.
Zealand?
Yeah, all I knew is they
English
had an
accent.
accent. Yeah. All I knew is they had an accent there. And I went and I see people from all shades, you know, it's like a flower garden, you know? You go there and you see so many different islanders, whether it be Cook Islands, Samoa, Tongan, Fiji, people from all over. It's just, it was kind of like a culture shock, per se. And then you get outside of the Pacific Islanders and you see Indians, you just see people from all, you know, all different
That was
cultures.
interesting because we're in Fiji again, and when we first made it to Fiji, I'm like, wow, there's so many Indians here.
Yeah.
It was first a crazy reaction to see Fijians?
Fijians.
Fijians here with the facial structure, the dark skin, many of the women with the afro for the hair. That was already a sight in itself.
Yep.
It feels like I did not learn any of this when I was in school.
Yep.
That was amazing. That took a long time for me to really get that, oh my gosh, there's other people in different parts of the world.
Yep.
Like people. I mean, living beings that think, feel, all the emotions, all the above. Is that how'd you feel?
So, as I was saying before, even beyond just the look, the apparel, you know, you see men in their, what are they called?
Lava lava?
Lava lavas.
That's where Samoan typically. Right?
Yeah. So you see lava lavas in the South Pacific. You're not used to seeing that back in the States.
Which is sort of a dress.
It's like is it a wrap skirt?
It's a wrap skirt. Let me put it in a better perspective.
Yeah.
Especially for men, both men and women, but for men also, a wrap skirt.
Yeah. So yeah, you see these cultural differences, and then an extension of that culture beyond apparel, beyond look, is the internal. The people are loving. They receive you like family out the gate, and it's like love that some don't even receive from their own families, which is sad to say, but it's the truth of it that you'll come here and get love that you've never got before.
Now, when you say here, let me interrupt you. Which place did you get that feeling first?
My first stop was New Zealand, Auckland.
All right.
That was my first stop, Auckland, New Zealand. That's where I got that first experience at, and it was just mind-boggling. Like, it'll make you think, like, wow, there's a different way, a different perspective to have on life, to where I can treat people this way. I can do that too. Why not do that to people that are strangers? Why not meet a stranger and embrace them like that? Why not show them the love that I was shown on my arrival, that I've never met these people ever? Never met them. Don't know their name. They don't know mine. But they embrace me like they've known me since I was a baby.
So New Zealand was sort of the first country, and New Zealand consists of so many different ethnic groups. We have Samoans, we have a lot of Polynesians, which includes Tongans. Samoans is one of them. Help me remember some of the islands.
Cook Islands. Yeah, they have.
You have Fiji that's included in there.
Yeah, I don't know if the Cook Islands. There's a lot of islands.
And then you also have Asians from many different parts of Asia, and then Ethiopians and Somalians and so many different ethnicities. It resides in New Zealand, which was what shocked me. You can find all different kinds of cultural foods there, all different kinds of people there that you've never probably met as their ethnicity in whatever country you live in. I love that. I love the cultural diversity in New Zealand. And I told myself, oh man, this was one of the nicest places that you can walk out in the streets and almost pretty much not be afraid, like not fear for your life.
Yeah.
It's one of the safest places that I would come back and live in.
Yeah.
For New Zealand. Auckland, of course, we stayed in, but now going back to that, New Zealand, people treat you nice. Generosity is different from America. Would you say, right?
Yes.
In what way? Brief examples.
Brief examples. We went to a Somali restaurant, and we get welcomed into the Somali restaurant. The Somali mother, she doesn't speak much English, but we tell her what we want. She goes back there by herself. She cooks us a good dinner.
It was just her in the kitchen.
Just her.
Just her in the kitchen.
Just her back there cooking the meal up for us. Some of the best food I've ever had. Good price, authentic food. She cooks us a good meal. Later on, her husband comes and he entreats us like family once again. He takes us to his shop, shows us some of the cortatas, some of the clothes. They just treat us like family. Like it's not about race. And they were Muslim and they knew we weren't Muslim, but they still treated us like family. They took us in, showed us around, fed us, showed us clothing, everything. They were just, hospitable. Showing care. And like I said, it wasn't about race. It wasn't about, religion. They were just very much hospitable. The saints, and those are people that are not in the church. And then the people that are in the church, the
different
saints.
Religion, not in the church.
Now we have people in the church, same thing. They show you love. They feed you. They take care of you. They want you to have the best experience that you can have. They're not treating you like a stranger. They're showing you authentic, genuine love. You're a human being. I'm a human being.
Like complete family. Complete family.
I'm gonna treat you like family.
It's like I'm a blood relative of theirs.
Yeah.
And I remember one brother, one brother, I don't remember his name, but he told me, you know what, David? They have the English accent. You know what, David? No matter who you are, whether you're a stranger, we treat you like family. We accept you. We treat you like family. We don't judge you. We accept you. But, David, if that person does anything to us or betrays us, we shun them.
Yep.
And I said, okay, that's pretty fair, right?
Yeah.
Because when you think of Samoa, and it was Samoan, but you think of Samoa and a little bit of the history that they gave us living with a chief of the village, right? There's a chief of the village, and they live in a community, which I also thought was amazing.
Yep.
And that's what shapes a lot of people. That community feeling. I don't know what that's like. A little bit, because my father's African from Congo, so I got a little bit of that African culture with, we call each other uncles, and even though we're not blood related, but we just have that community sense. So I know a little bit of what it's like, but I think that's what shapes a lot of them, that community feel. So having so many family members that takes care of you, that looks after you. When you're a child and you continue to grow older, they check in on you, make sure you are doing well, to see how you're doing, check in on your parents and all that. What do you think?
I will say I can relate to that in a sense.
Okay.
So where I'm from, I was in the hood. If anybody knows Dallas, I was raised up in Pleasant Grove. And, back in the day, they used to actually have communities. And what they say is it takes a village to raise a child. So literally, you do something bad on the block and another responsible parent on the block hears about it, they'll whoop you. They will whoop you. And then they'll hand you off to your parents, and your parents will whoop you as well.
Did you experience some of that?
I didn't. I was very close. I was very close to, getting, I was very close to getting in trouble.
You experienced the fact that someone else cared.
Yes. I
went straight to your caregivers.
Yeah, so even in a sense to where I was partially raised by somebody else in my neighborhood. My mother worked, and she would let me be babysit by another grandmother in the neighborhood. It would be like a couple of us kids or just me. She would babysit me while my mom is at work. So they would literally be a community, help each other out. Hey, you watch over my kids, I'll watch over your kids. We work together. And some people can get away from that. They can let pride get in the way. For instance, they could, maybe their kid is wrong in something, but they decide to side with their child, even though their child is wrong, and it causes altercation. Then you get away from the village, if I could say, mindset to where we're going to work together in this thing. So sometimes problems like pride or, ego can get in the way. But if you put those things aside, yeah, it's very true. In a sense of where that village mindset can shape and mold, how people are and how they perceive things. Because this is how this is how I'm raised, so I'm going to continue that on. This is family in this community, so I'm going to branch out that family. I'm going to expand my horizons and try to bring others onto that umbrella, show them how I was raised, and try to raise others that way. It's a better way of thinking to work together. Of course, like I said, in a perspective that's holy. Working together and doing things the correct way.
And I got that same sense of community in India because I went to India, even though you missed out on it, but their children, I mean, your child is their child. And it's a whole community there. They look out for each other, look out for one another. The joy was so real when I went to India, especially Kerala. So real among a lot of the children. The children play with each other, an entire community. So that's a good perspective. Do you think that sort of ran away from a lot of us?
Yeah, definitely.
Not just in today's generation, but would you specify it to the country of the United States of America?
Yeah, I would say in America, it's gotten out mostly. People, a lot of people, they're getting worse. As generation goes on, times are getting worse. So people are reluctant to trust children or trust people with their children.
Less.
All type of things can happen when you don't take your time out to truly get to know someone, and it's hard to truly get to know someone because so many people put up masks and things of that nature. So yeah, as time goes on, it's like that thing has disintegrated, it's disappeared. I think the last time I remember things like that is when I was a child. My neighbor used to come on. We used to go jump on the trampoline. My mom used to, go take us or pay for us to get a haircut. We'll walk up to the donut shop, things like that. Like, your child come over my house, you can spend the night, or, things of that nature. Just spending the night and, not getting into anything, but just being kids, And
so all of that, so you summarize all of that up into an experience for one human being that, would you believe, shapes the character to be so diverse, culturally, where you don't have a judgment of, different people on different ethnicities because you've had that experience?
Yeah, so I'll say definitely it depends on the community that you're raised in. And we keep coming back to community. If you have a community of one type of people, then your mind may not be open to different types of people.
That's true.
But once you have a diverse community, like in my community, I was raised up in like a Hispanic community. So I had, people from all over, I may come across somebody from El Salvador, Mexico, or different parts of Mexico. So I may have a neighbor that's white, and I have multiple, of different races.
Right.
It's a mixed bag. So you get to familiarize yourself and see, hey, this is not uncommon, or if it is uncommon, hey, they're a human being just like I'm a human being. I've been with them before. You just get familiar and more comfortable in a sense to where if you're in one type of community with one mindset and no mixture, then it can be difficult to switch up from that. It can be difficult because I heard of someone like in a sense to where they hear of like Germany and they think of like World War II,
right?
Because their mind isn't open up to that was 80 years ago. Things are not like that anymore. You can go abroad, you could visit these places and have a good time.
Right.
Just diversify your mind.
Even if you're black by
Yes.
skin or
Yes.
whatever skin tone you are.
Yes. To this day, that was one of my most favorite destinations was Germany.
Berlin, Germany.
Yeah, I had a great time there.
Right.
It blending in my black skin,
Now let me fast forward to New Zealand. You gave a good perspective of what it's like there. We go to Fiji now. Fiji, it was a mixture, right? You have the it's hard to pronounce the word, Fijians?
Fijian.
Fijians, and then you also have Indians that are sort of blended in, which I thought was amazing. And the generosity there is so genuine, right? Treat you like family. They even think we look like them, right? Look like Fijians.
Yeah.
I had that experience with my Airbnb host.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say, can I flip the script, turn it to the interviewer, and be like, you tell me about your experience that night.
We booked the Airbnb, right? It was in Singotoka, and the Airbnb host, as soon as we got there, made sure that we get a ride from Nandi Airport all the way to Singotoka. So arranged me a taxi. That was the Airbnb host that did that. And once I was there, made it safely to the Airbnb, asked me and offered me for food while I was there. And then I decided to adventure out, as I usually do, go on a walk in the city, roam around, not knowing where I'm going, but I like to do that. And then it becomes pitch black, and then all of a sudden it rains, right? It just thunders and rains. Now I'm walking in the rain, getting wet and drenched. And then the Airbnb host messages me to see where I'm at, and asks to come pick me up. And then her husband comes and swoops me, brings me to their home. And now she's feeding me, right? She chops up a coconut for me, feeds me, and then keeps you in the loop of too where I am, because you were in Suva at the time. You're coming back from Suva on a road trip. And then she drops me back to the Airbnb safely. I mean, man, that feeling, brother, of having someone just take care of me like that.
Yeah.
A family just pamper me.
Yep.
They even had a young daughter, and the young daughter's a child and wants to interact with me. And that was a surreal experience, bro. It really, I'm going to wrap this up here, but I know I wanted to make it a little longer, but I'm going to wrap it up. What does this do to you, man? With the little that you've traveled, you've gone to Africa. We haven't touched on even on that, so maybe you'll come back around.
Yeah.
All of this experience, what does that do to you? I'll go first to give you an example. When with the good friends that we have in Samoa, and we ate with them, we talked with them, we sat with them for a long time, got to know them, got to know one another. The standard that they set for me was like so high, right? To where when I go back in the States, now I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna treat even my blood relatives, right? Those that don't talk to me, how am I gonna treat them? And then how am I going to treat my brothers and sisters in religious term, right? In the church. How am I going to treat them? Because they set such a high standard. That really touched my heart, man. It really helped me to work on my generosity, on my sense of me giving that community feeling to people. Where I go up and talk to them. If they don't talk to me, I accept rejection. If you don't want to talk to me, fine. I go to somebody else. What about you, man? Let me get some of that from you.
So, that is a great perspective to have. Before I get into, how it affected me, I will say one thing that stuck with me is when Pastor would tell the saints, get your passports. Go see your brothers and sisters overseas. Go see how they worship. Now I'm in that same boat. I'm literally telling the saints, when I go back to the States, or even as I'm here, please come. Just come. Get your passport. Experience this. You won't regret it. It's one of the best experiences you could have, to go overseas and worship with someone that's worshiping the same God as you, in the same way, getting the same teaching, but thousands of miles away, in a different culture, a different upbringing, a different lifestyle, a different financial bracket, if I can say.
That's a good one right there.
They're still worshiping. They're still humble. They're still grateful with what they have.
Yeah.
It opens up your eyes and your mindset.
Really does.
It shows you that I can maneuver differently. I can become more grateful. I've seen how these people live here and they're grateful. Now I'll get into how it affects me.
There you go.
You can go to these countries and see these people don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of money, but they are grateful for what they have. And not only are they grateful for what they have, but they glorify God with it. You may go to service in the same suit. Thank God, I got this same suit. I'm coming right back to service again. Thank God for this place we can gather.
That's a good perspective.
Maybe once a year. Thank God for this one time we could come together. You know, just being grateful for what you have and when you have it, because it may not always be there, and it didn't have to be you. You know, it's just a wonderful thing to be able to see your brothers and sisters thankful just to see you. They're just grateful to see you, to see their pastor, to see the brothers and sisters, to see that you traveled all this way, and they're just grateful that you greeted them. You know, they're just grateful to interact with you. It's a wonderful thing to see, and that's something that sticks with me. You know, the brothers, sisters, you know, when I arrive, they embraced me. They showed me around town, and this is wherever I go for the most part. They embraced me. They showed me around town, and you know, all these other countries, it's the same treatment. You know, and I'm just glad. I'm glad and I'm grateful for it. You know, traveling abroad to see my brothers and sisters.
That's a good perspective, man. I really love that. So, even if you have one suit, be glad you got one suit. You know, I'm learning from this.
Yeah.
Be glad you have one suit, one tie, a pair of dress shoes, whatever it is. Be glad, because some don't even have a closet filled of anything, much of anything, compared to what we have, compared to what I have, even. So that's a very good perspective that you touched on. Very good statement, too. So, Josh, I'm going to wrap this up here. I didn't plan on this to be long at all, but I do want, we have so much to talk about. Now that I'm thinking of it, because I want to have you come back and address now relationship.
Yeah.
Me, you, as two men, just building up a relationship of getting to know each other. Not just through travel, but just seeing each other often and having communication.
Yeah.
We'll stay tuned for that, okay? And then there's just so much more. I got to touch Africa and
y'all stay tuned. Y'all definitely tune back in. More content coming soon, Lord willing, when we get around to it. But y'all stay tuned. Keep tuning back in.
So to anyone that was able to watch this video, well, I really thank you. This is an introduction of what I hope to make a continuous series. I just set this up randomly as I'm here in Fiji to get this series going and to have multiple people, even strangers, that I'm able to communicate with and dialogue with, to get their perspectives on their travel and just what they have learned. So, well, I thank you all for watching. This is Josh. My name's David. And if you enjoyed, go ahead and please like, please subscribe, and stay tuned once again. Thank you.